Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk about pumpkin. Pumpkin's a great winter squash. It's a great staple and fall around here. Usually I wash the outside of my pumpkin before I cut it up because you never really know. These are from my garden, so they're mostly safe. But I wash it and then I'll cut it this way. I find it easier to clean this way. So once we've cut our pumpkin in half, the first thing we're going to do is scoop out the insides, which generally are locally referred to as the guts. I just use a normal metal spoon to scoop out the insides, all the stringy part, and the seeds. I separate the seeds and the stringy part immediately, and I put the seeds into a colander or a strainer, and I set the stringy part aside to go into the compost. And once I have both halves of my pumpkin emptied, I put a tiny bit of water on the roasting pan, and I put the pumpkins with the cut side down, and I put them in the oven at 350. Depending on the size of your pumpkin, anywhere between half an hour to an hour. I do the small pie pumpkins, so I generally check them after half an hour. Sometimes I've gone up to 45 minutes. Once I have my pumpkin cut, I wash my seeds and I get those ready because pumpkin seeds are perfectly edible. So I wash my seeds and I get all of the leftover stringy bits off of it. And then I put them on a towel and I pat them dry. And I will then put them into a little bowl, like just a normal bowl from the kitchen. And I will put a little bit, just a little bit of oil on them and some salt. I like them plain. And I will mix them all up. So once I've got them all mixed up with a little bit of oil and the salt on them, I will put them on a parchment lined baking sheet. I have a smaller baking sheet which is actually perfect for pumpkin and other squash seeds. And so I'll spread them out so they're not all clumped together and on top of each other because they don't really dry nicely that way. And once I've got them all spread out evenly, I will also put them in the oven. I generally put my pumpkin and my seeds in together. I find my seeds take a little bit longer when I put them in with the pumpkin, probably because they have the extra moisture of the pumpkin in there. 350 Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes. When I put them in with the pumpkin, it usually takes about 20. I always check them after 15. So I will actually open the oven, stick my hand in, grab a seed, and eat it and see if it's the crunch I like. And I take them out when they reach the crunch I like. I don't like peeling them, so getting the outer shell to an edible state is great. So much less work. And then I put them in a little bowl and I snack on them. They generally don't last more than a day. My boyfriend never gets any. So after about half an hour, I checked the pumpkin, and in this instance, it was done. I could easily stick a fork into the pumpkin, which means it's done. So then I set it just out on the counter to cool. And once it was cool enough to handle, I scraped all the pumpkin, all the goodies out of the skin of the pumpkin, and I put them in my blender. And then I blended it all up, and that's pumpkin puree. And now I can use that in any other recipe. I like making smoothies out of pumpkin. You add your pumpkin spices, and it's like pumpkin pie in a cup. And I make pumpkin muffins, so what I generally do is I just put the puree in a container and put it in the fridge so that I can measure it out for my different recipes later on. Pumpkin seems to keep well for a week. After a week I get a little nervous and I won't use it after a week. If I've already done it, it goes in the compost. It might last longer, but I'm nervous about it, so I don't keep it longer than a week. I generally use it up pretty quickly. If I feel I'm not going to use it, I put it in a jar and put it in the freezer. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy your pumpkin.